we've been using array lists in the past, and what are they? They are arrays that can shrink and grow and have a set of functions or methods that we can use to, manipulate the set of elements. And so how do we do it? We do it like this. We say array list is the type, we have the name, and then we have new array list, which creates the array list that we can put into this variable. What we're going to be going over today in the book is the list interface. And the list interface is an interface that ArrayList implements, right? And there's a couple others that also implement the list interface. So what does that mean for you? That means that sometimes, the majority of the times, in the book and no, I'm not sorry, not in the book, but on the AP problems, the multiple choice and the free response, whenever you see an array list, it's going to be created like this, as opposed to this. Whoa. Okay. So we're going to have a list here as a type. The name is my list, and then we create a new array list, data object to put into the variable of type list. What does that mean for us effectively? Well, that means that list gives us the rules for what methods can be used. We can only use the methods that are in the list interface. What does this method here, what does this class here specify? It specifies where those methods are defined. So, effectively, what does that mean for us? It means nothing, all right? So this is equivalent to this, because every method that is implemented in ArrayList is found in the list interface. So let's take a look at some of those methods. We're here in chapter 41, the list interface, and we have add, we have clear, contains, equals. These are all methods that you should be familiar with, right? And these are all the methods that are available to us if we do this or if we do this. So basically, don't be scared. This is okay. All right. List is the superclass. It's the interface that ArrayList implements. So you might be thinking, okay, so list is an interface, has a set of methods that can be defined. We have array lists, linked lists, and vectors that are all implementing list in different ways. Okay, array list uses an array, and if you ever insert a, well, maybe it's easier if I show you a picture. If you ever, that's not the right one. If you ever insert an element into, let's say, space 5, what's happening is that in the background, they're taking all the elements in space 5 up to 9, putting it into a temporary array, then they're creating a new array that has one space more, so it goes from index 0 up to 10. They're putting in the first 4 elements, they're putting in the new element in space 5, and then they're putting in what was in space 5 to 9 in space 6 to 10 in the new array. So that's what's happening in the background. Okay. When you're using a linked list, that's a different kind of data type. It looks like this. It looks like this. So a bunch of variables. They're not indexed. What they have are links to the next data type. So they have a link going forward and they have a link going back. So what does that mean? It just means the mechanics are different. So if I wanted to insert an element in between David and Miriam, what you would do is you would take this link that points to Miriam, and you would point it to Joshua, and then you would take the link that Joshua has and point it to Miriam. Miriam, yeah, that's right. And then you would take the link from Miriam, point it to Joshua, and point it to David. So it's just a different methodology, right? Hence the list interface, because if you're using a linked list like this, inserting is going to be a different process than if you're going to use an array like this, right? So same method, different implementations. Okay, what else do we have here? So some of you might be thinking, okay, what are some of the advantages of doing this over this, right? Well, some of the advantages is that in my list, if you create an array of type list, you can stick array objects of type array list in there. You could stick objects of type linked list in there. You could stick objects of type vector in there, right? So how would we do that? We would do it like this. So instead of making an array list, instead of making an array of type array list, you're going to make an array of type list. and we can stick ArrayList objects in there. We could stick vectors. We could stick linked list objects in there. And then when we scroll through them all, we could scroll through them all and then run the methods that are specified in the interface. All right. So, um, okay. And then so when we're talking about the APCS exam part A, which is the one that we're taking, array lists are the only class that are tested. Linked list and vectors are not. So all you need to know is that ArrayList is an implementation of an interface called list. And if you're faced with something that looks like this, don't be scared. It's the same thing as this.